Hi everyone, this is Tishan Wang from University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. In this video, I will summarize our work. Hi everyone, this is Tishan Wang from University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. In this video, I will summarize our work on the sensory feedback control law for octopus arm movements. This is a joint work with Dr. Udit Halder and other collaborators in UIUC. Pursuit of a prey is happening all the time in nature. Let us look at some of those videos. So these huntings and pursuing require maneuver in moving directions and also the sensing like chemical odor, visual stimuli, etc. The majority of these studies focuses on terrestrial or aerial creatures. Little has been put forth on the mathematics of potential pursuit strategies of ocean creatures like octopuses. Our team focuses on the model-based control of octopus arms. Despite of having infinite degrees of freedom, octopuses are observed to engage in certain stereotypical movement strategies, especially bend propagation. As you can see in this video, the octopus creates an initial bend near the base of the arm and propagates it towards the tip. The sensory motor control mechanism behind such a motion has not been fully understood. Here's another video recording of suckers on the isolated arm of an octopus. The suckers along the arm are capable of locally orienting themselves towards the source of the concentration or stimuli. These biological observations bring us these questions. What pursuit strategies do octopuses use when they want to catch a prey? And what sensory information are utilized and how? In this presentation, I will show you how we achieve the control of a soft octopus arm, like in this simulation. This is the outline of my talk. First, I will discuss the modeling of a computational octopus arm and our proposed sensory model. Next, I will introduce our novel sensory feedback control law and its analysis. In the last part, I will demonstrate simulation results to show the capability of the proposed control law. Now is the first part. A planar flexible soft octopus arm is modeled using the Cosworth rod theory. The center line of the arm is a one-dimensional continuum object parameterized by S from 0 to L0, which is from the base of the arm to the tip. L0 is the total length of the arm in rest state. For each S, we have a position vector R in the laboratory frame and an angle theta in the material frame. For simplicity of analysis, we only consider the inextensible and unshearable rod, and the kinematics is given by the following. The kappa is the curvature of the rod. The dynamics of the rod is governed by 6 nonlinear partially differential equations, where the drag force from the fluid effect is also considered. The arm is driven by the internal muscle couple U, which is the resulting couple from 2 longitudinal muscles, one on the top and another on the bottom. The sensory motor control problem is to figure out the explicit form of U as a function of some sensory information that achieves certain tasks. Next, let's look at the sensory model. Given a target with location, one can calculate the distance between every point along the arm to the target. Recall the video of sucker sensing. The local orientation of suckers motivates us to make assumption of the following sensory information of our model. The bearing alpha, which is the angle between the tangent vector and the target vector. The second is the arc length of the closest point to the target, S bar, which reflects the position along the arm that receives the highest concentration diffused by the target. Now we come to the analysis of sensory motor control. Here is a proposition. Consider the rod dynamics. Our proposed feedback control law drives the closed-loop system to an equilibrium that is asymptotically stable. At every point along the arm, the control is proportional to the sign of the bearing information alpha. When alpha becomes 0, physically it means the tangent at that point is aligned with the target vector, thus pointing towards the target. The control function is cut off beyond the S-bar point. This intuitively comes from the observations of bend propagation that the part of the arm between the bend point and the tip is passive. Before we go to the dynamics, let us look at the equilibrium. Recall the definition of the target distance rho and the bearing angle alpha. The spatial variation of these two variables is given by the following equations. Then, by solving the following closed-loop system, we can obtain the equilibrium configuration of the arm. From the previous proposition, we know that such equilibrium is asymptotically stable. But what else is so special about this equilibrium? Then I'm going to talk about another proposition in our paper regarding the equilibrium, with two cases. The first case is that if the target is within the reach, with high enough control gain mu, the equilibrium configuration reaches the target, as we can see from this example. The second case is that if the target is out of reach, with high enough control gain mu, the tip of the arm points towards the target at the equilibrium configuration. This is also shown on the figure on the right. In conclusion of the two propositions, our proposed sensory feedback control law can stabilize the arm at a configuration that reaches to the target or points towards the target, depending on whether the target is within the reach or not. With all that being discussed, let me now show you some simulation results. The simulation uses an open source high-fidelity software package called Elastica. The simulation results are qualitatively and quantitatively compared with biological experiments. As we can see from the video recording on the left, the octopus creates a bend around the middle of the arm and shoots the bend towards the target above. On the right, we have a straight rod and a static target above. The control also creates a bend in the middle of the rod and drives it towards the target. Since the target is reachable, the rod successfully reaches the target. Next, the rod is initialized with a bend near the base. This type of initialization is commonly seen in real octopuses at rest state. The rod is controlled to do bend propagation and shoot towards the target at different directions. Since the targets are beyond reach, all the rods are stabilized pointing towards the target. Next, with the obstacles at presence, the control law is still able to adapt to the contact between the rod and the obstacles, and the targets are successfully reached. Besides static targets, our control law is also able to track moving targets. Here is another video recording. As you can see, the suckers are actively sensing the food with deformation and orientation. And then the arm squeezes through the hole and shoots towards the food in order to catch it. On the right, we present a similar scenario where the rod is also squeezing into a tunnel and even turns to reach the moving target. At last, I'd like to report one more result from our sensory feedback control. We measured the bend velocity during the bend propagation movement. Then we compare it with the bend velocity data obtained from real octopus recordings. The bell-shaped bend velocity quantitatively match with the real octopus data and also the literature. Here I summarize the key contributions of our work. We modeled a sensory. We have a sensory model for the flexible crossroad rod. A biologically plausible feedback control law is proposed. And we also analyze the equilibrium that either reaches the target or points towards the target. And then we have some numerical comparisons with the biological experiments. The work can be reviewed as a first step of a broader research program that aims to reveal deeper insights into the natural motions of octopus arms. So on the basis of our current sensory feedback control framework, we are now able to consider more advanced problems, like the scenario of partially observed sensory information and the neuromuscular control, which is what we are working on to add one more layer to our control architecture. The sensory motor control can be extended in that direction. So that is the end of my talk. Here are all my collaborators in this work. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm looking forward to your questions. Thank you.